Yeah, morning all. So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, right?
Yes, it is clear.
So as I was just briefing you about the installation, right? Python installation yesterday. You can go to this python.org website in the downloads folder, right? Python.org is the official website of Python, right? Within that, you can go to the downloads folder. Within this downloads, go to specific releases. Specific releases. Select Python 3.10.4. Go to files. Within the go to files, right? Within the files, select 64-bit or 32-bit accordingly. Download the file. Download the file. Click the file. Click the downloaded file. Installation window opens, right? And check the next. You can say next here. Give the installation location, right? Give the installation location, right? That's it. Okay. Next is like Python execution modes. Two modes of execution, right? Yes. Two modes of execution. Interactive mode and batch mode. What is it? Interactive mode and second is batch mode. Interactive mode means just now you can go to this at the bottom search panel. You can say CMD, right? Yes. And you can just say Python here. You can just go to the command prompt and say Python here. Say enter. Any valid Python statements you can type here, right? X equal to Ajay. X plus y. Ajay Kumar, right? Yes. Okay. Any valid Python statements you can type here, right? X equal to Ajay, Y equal to Kumar, X plus Y Ajay Kumar, right? Any valid Python. Okay. This is what interactive mode, right? A equal to 10, B equal to 5. What is A? Okay. X equal to 10, B equal to 5. What is X value? 10. What is B value? 5. What is X plus 2? X minus 2 gives the result, right? X into 2, right? 20. X to the power of 2, power symbol in the Python, right? Double star. 10 square, 100. So in this way, any valid Python statements you can type and you can interact, right? Statement by statement. Okay. If you want to come out of this, say quit. Quit and come out of this. Okay. Interactive mode. Here we directly type. So two modes of execution for Python. Here we directly type Python statements. Interactive mode, we directly type Python statements on the interpreter. Python is an interpretation language. And the user can easily interact. Here we directly type Python statements on the interpreter and the user can easily interact. Here we directly type Python statements on the interpreter and the user can easily interact with Python statement by statement. And the user can easily interact with Python. Okay. Advantage. What is advantage of interactive mode? So to if you doesn't know about any particular Python functionalities, you can type and check, right, what output it is giving, right? Based on that, you can just analyze it. Right? So to test the functionalities of Python, test the functionalities of Python and to learn Python, right? And to learn Python. To test the functionalities of Python and to learn Python. Here we write batch of statements. Here we write batch of statements within the editors or IDEs. We write a batch of statements within the editors or IDs and save it. Batch of within the editors or IDs and save it by using .py extension, .py extension, and later within the editors or IDs and save it by using .py extension and later submit to Python. So here, what are the various editors? Okay. So here the advantage of interactive mode is for testing the functionalities of Python, for learning Python. As a beginner, as a learner, as a beginner, right? This interactive mode works better. But for developing applications, we cannot go for interactive mode, right? For developing applications, we need to go for batch mode. Here we write batch of statements within the editors or IDEs, integrated development environments. In real time, we go for IDEs and save it by using .py extension, later submitting to Python. What are the various editors and what are the various IDEs? Just observe this. Various editors. What are the various editors where we can write the Python code is within the notepad. You can write and create a Python file, notepad, edit plus. So these two are for Windows environment, notepad and edit plus. For Linux, we go for VI and nano, right? VI and nano editor within this. Okay. What are the various IDs, right? Various IDs. Various IDs, right? Yes. PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider, PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider, Eclipse. Anaconda distribution, Jupyter Notebook, right? Yes. Atom ID, VS Code, right? Various IDs, PyCharm, PyDev, Komodo, Spider, Eclipse, NetBeans, Jupyter, Atom, and VS Code. PyCharm is the mostly used one. PyCharm is the mostly used ID, mostly used. PyDev, Komodo, Spider, Eclipse, NetBeans, Jupyter, Atom, and VS Code. So you may ask why these many IDs for Python, right? Why this many? Why not one or two IDs? So Python is used for different environments, right? For data science, for big data, for animations, for networking, for desktop applications, for embedded applications, right? So for different environments, different IDs are preferred. For data science, right? For example, Jupyter Notebook is mostly preferred. Spider ID is preferred. For big data, also like Spider, Jupyter is preferred. And for typical web applications creations, right, with Python, PyCharm is the mostly used, and Atom is used, VS Code is used, right? So in this way, from different environment to environment, different IDs are preferred. So I'm going to give you I'm going to show you how to download and how to install these various IDs, multiple IDs. I'm going to show you how to work within, so that tomorrow if you go to any environment, right, you can be able to work with that IDs. How to download, how to install, and how to work and execute the code on that, right? Yes. So just developing the first Python application, right? One second. Developing the first Python application using the editor, right? Okay. Developing the first Python application using the editor. Okay. So first example like Notepad. First, within the Notepad, how can we write the Python code and how to create a .py file, how to execute it, right? Yes, within the Notepad. Uh, okay, open Notepad and type the following Python statements, right? As of now, we didn't discuss anything about Python, right? So just I'll take two values like x as 10, y as 20, right? Taking two values and performing some kind of arithmetic operations, right? X plus y, x minus y, x into y, right? X minus y, x into y. Some kind of arithmetic operations I want to perform. X by y, right? Yes. So just I'll copy this to a separate notepad file. Yes. And create a .py file, right? Okay. Okay. So I created a separate folder for this site. Yes, it's Python 7 a.m. So save it as sample1.py, sample1.py, right? Yes. So here I'm writing, right? Save it as sample1.py. Save as sample1.py, right? And submit to Python as. Mm. Okay, now go to this sample and submit to Python as right. Now go to this command prompt. See, I created, I have taken a notepad file. Within that, I written the Python code. I saved it with the .py extension. Now I want to submit it to Python, right? Go at the bottom search panel, say CMD, say enter, and go to the command prompt and just type Python here. Don't say enter, just say Python and give the path where your file is available to Python, right? Within the C drive. uh, Python 7am folder, right? Python 7am folder, right? Slash, what is that file name? Sample1 dot py, sample1 dot py, right? Say enter. Yeah, 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20. 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20. Okay, fine. Understood, right? So just write, open notepad, write some Python code. So the Python statements look like normal English statements, right? Yes. Save it by using .py extension and later submit to Python, right? Just say Python and give the path, right? The entire path of Python. The file name, the directory, and the drive, and that directory folder where it is available, and the file name, right? But here, okay, so we are giving to Python here, submitting this entire file path, where it is present in which drive, in which folder, and what's the file name you are submitting to Python. Okay, here you are writing the code in notepad and you are submitting within this command prompt, right? So here, what is your observation here? But here we are writing the code, we are writing the code at one place. We are writing the code at one place, notepad, and executing. We are writing the code at one place and executing at the other place, right? We are writing the code at one place and executing at the other place. But to write and execute, to write and execute at the same place. So we are writing at one place, we are executing at other place. Here, what is that we are observing? But to write and execute at the same place, right? At the same place, we have IDLE, right? Integrated Development Environment, Integrated Development Environment. So which comes along with Python installation, which comes along with Python installation, which comes along with using which we can work with both interactive and, so which comes along with the Python installation, using which we can work with both interactive and batch mode. Using which we can work with both interactive and batch mode. Okay. Okay. So what is this ideally integrated development environment, right? Which comes along with Python installation, using which I'm saying we can work with interactive. And how to open this ideally, right? So go to your start programs. So whenever we install Python, right? After installing, go to your start programs. Yes. Check various Python is available here, right? So here Python 3.10. If we click this Python 3.10, we click the Python 3.10. What is the first one you are able to see here? IDLE, right? IDLE, right? Click it. Python shell gets open. Python shell will be open, right? In this way, right? Python 3.10.4, the version, the three arrowed symbol, right? Python interpreter, where we can write any valid Python statements here. 3 plus 5. Any valid statements we can type and you can interact, right? Statement by statements for interactive mode. But I doesn't want interactive mode. For developing applications, we go for batch mode, right? So for batch mode, say file, new file, right? File, new file. X equal to 10, Y equal to 20. Print X plus Y. Print X minus Y. X into Y. Print X by Y. Okay, X plus Y, X minus Y, X into Y, and X by Y, right? Yes. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, and 10 by 20, right? Yes. You can write the code here itself. Save it first, Control S. Yes. Sample2.py, right? Here. Run a run module. Run a run module, right? Yes. 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, and 10 by 20. 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, and 10 by 20, right? Okay. Okay, here you can see, here itself we can write the code, here itself we can execute the code, right? Here run option is the run module, right? Yes, you can say run module, right? So 10 plus 20, 10 minus 20, 10 into 20, 10 by 20, right? Yes. Okay, for the output here itself. Okay, so here itself we can write the code. Here run option will be available, run module, right? So addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, right? Yes. Okay, fine. So that is what Python execution mode, right? And within the notepad, how we can write, and within the editors, within the IDs, right? Within the IDs, how to download, how to install, and how to work on it IDs. I'll be showing you once we are done with a little bit of technical content. Fine. Next is like Python data types. Python data types, right? Yes. Every organization use case. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Has got data and operations. Okay. Data represented using data represented, right? Data represented using data types are variables. Every organization use case has got data and operations. Data represented using data types or variables. Operations represented using every organization use case has got data and operations. Data represented using data types or variables. Operations represented using functions. Okay. Okay. For example, any organization has got data and operations, right? How data is represented using data types and operations using functions. For example, if we take the example of a bank, bank consists of what? Customers and employees. Bank consists of customers and employees. Customers has got data and operations. Customers has got what? Data and operations. Data means like customer name, account number, customer name like Ajay, account number, balance, represented by using data types or variables. operations like deposit operation, withdraw operation, right? Deposit, withdraw, right? Okay. Transfer operation, using functions. Data types are variables and these operations using functions. Next, employees. Employees have got data and operations. Employee ID, employee name, salary, right? Employee name, so this is data represented using data types or variables. And what are the employee operations means, like calculating tax, calculating net salary, RPF, all this, right? Yes. So this comes as operations represented using functions. Later we discuss about this functions concept, but our discussion is like data types or variables. Data. So data represented using data types or variables, either customer data or employee data. If we compare this data types, right? If I compare these data types, C, C++, Java with Python, right? If I'm comparing this data type C, C++, Java with Python, Python supports dynamic data types. Python supports dynamic data types. Okay, if we compare with other programmings, right? For example, in other programmings, if I want to define a variable like x as 10, without this data type defining, okay, without this data type defining, right, we cannot create this variable x, right? X equal to 10. But in Python, direct+, I can say x as 10, right? So here, without this data type, variable cannot be created in other programming languages like C, C++, Java. Compulsory, the data type defining is mandatory. File example y equal to 4.5, there's something in decimal point, right? Compulsory, we need to say as float. Something in string, HELL, in the sequence collection of characters, I need to say string here. But in Python, no need to say this data types directly. I can say x as 10, y as 4.5, z as hello, right? What kind of variable x is means, based on this data type defining, you are saying it is integer variable. What kind of variable y is means in other programmings, you are saying based on this data type defining, you are saying it as float. You are saying this as string. But here, what kind of variable x is here? We are based upon the value assigned. What value you are assigning to x? Based on the value of, if you're assigning integer value, then it is integer variable gets created dynamically during runtime. Y equal to 4.5. What kind of variable y is? What value you are assigning to it? Based upon the value assigned. Okay. There is a function called type function in Python. Type of y is what type? Float. Why it is float? You have assigned float value to it, so the type float type, a variable gets created based upon the value assigned. Type of x is what type? Try to answer. Integer. Why it is integer? Because you have assigned a integer value. Type of z, it is what? String type, because you have assigned a string value to it. So based upon what value you are assigning to that. So based upon what value you are assigning, based on that the variable is going to get created dynamically during runtime. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to discuss four cases, right? What are four cases? What happens internally whenever we define some variables in Python? Just observe these things, very important. Defining variables. Defining variables. I'm going to discuss four cases and later I'll show you practically all this, right? Case one. Case one. Observe these three things. X equal to 10. If I'm saying, if I'm defining a variable as x equal to 10, what happens internally? Internally, one object gets created with value 10. It is going to occupy some memory, the memory address location. Assume it is the address, right? What x is storing, what x is storing means, don't say like x stores 10. X stores the address. X stores the address. Whenever I say print x, right? Whenever three things you need to observe here. Print x prints the content at that address. Prints the content at that address. Prints the content at that address. Print x prints the content at that address. It goes, whenever you say print x, it goes to that address and prints the content at that address. What is the content at that address? 10, right? Yes. Goes to that address and prints the content at that address. If I want to print the address itself, there is a function called id function, id of x. Prints id of x. Prints the address. Prints the address of x. Prints the address of x, that is that 103070. Type of x. Prints the data type of x, right? Prints the data type of x is what? Integer type, right? Yes. So prints the content at that address. Print x prints that. Print x means prints the content. ID of x means prints the address. Type of x means prints the data type, right? Prints the data type. Okay, next. Case 2. Now try to answer, right? Everyone try to respond through voice or through chart panel, right? Whenever I define two variables, x as 10, I want the sessions to be interactive. So please keep responding, right? X equal to 10, y equal to 20. How many objects are created here?
2.
Yes, two objects, right? For 10, one object with some address. The address is given to x. For y equal to 20, one more object, right? With value 20. Yes, with some address. The address is given to y, right? So now try to answer it. What is print x? What is the value of x?
10.
10. It goes to that address and prints the content at that address. If I want to print the address ID of x, right? Address ID of x. What is it?
10307.
1030 times. And if I want to print the data type function, type of x, what type it is?
Integer.
Integer, because you have assigned integer value to it. Now similarly for print y, what is the value?
20.
20. If I want to print the address, where exactly it is stored? Address of y.
1040.
90, right? And print type of y,
Integer.
integer type, right? Yes. So here if you observe two different variables x and y with two different values 10 20, with two different objects, with two different addresses, two different variables with two different values, then two different objects with two different addresses. Okay. Now observe this case 3, right? So this is case 2, two different values. Now observe this case 3. Observe, x is there, y is there. Try to answer now. Yes, everyone. X is 10, y is 10, right? Yes. Is 10, y is 10. How many objects? How many objects, right? How many objects are created? X and y. Try to
Two.
answer. Everyone, try to answer.
2.
Objects.
So here observe carefully. Here only one object created. Please be in mute. So observe carefully here. Only one object is created. One object with value 10 with some address. The address is given to x. But before creating an object for y, first it checks any object with value 10 is already available in the memory. If available, the same address will be given to y. One more object with value 10 won't be created. If x is 10, y is 10, z also 10. Don't think like three objects with value 10 gets created. If the contents are same, only one object. X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10, right? So X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10, right? Only one object, not three objects, right? Not three objects, only one object gets created. Means what is your observation? If the contents are same, only one object. If contents are different, 10 X is, now try to answer if X is 10, Y is 20, Z is 30. How many objects gets created? How many objects, right?
3.
3.
Three. How many objects? 3. But here only one object, right? When the content X is 10, Y is 10, Z is 10. Only one object, only one address. So all the three variables sharing the same content in the address, right? So if I say like a print X equal to print Y, print Z, what is the value?
10.
10 only, right? And if you see the address also, right? Print address of X,
1030.
address of Y, address of Z, right? Address of Z. What is the address?
1030.
right? Yes. Understood, right? All this.
Yes, sir.
Next, observe this case 4. Now this time X equal to 10, X equal to 20. For 10, one object gets created, right? With some address. The address is given for X equal to 20. 104080. X is 10, X is 20, right? Yes. Now, for 10 one object, for 21 object, two objects, right? With two different addresses. Now try to answer if I say print X, will it print 10 or will it print 20 or will it print both?
20 it will. 20.
So always the latest value it prints, right? If X value was 10 previously, X value is 20 now, prints 20, right? For example, your salary last year, 50,000. Your salary this year, 70,000. Print salary means prints the latest salary. The same way here, print X means it prints the latest, right? Latest value. ID of X means
4080.
4080, right? Yes. Can I print the value of the previous object 10? No, this object gets removed. Whenever you say X equal 20, the previous one gets removed. Whenever you say X equal to 30, what happens? 20 gets removed. Okay, X can store only one address, right? Okay, understood all these 4 cases, everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
So case 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? I'll be showing you all these cases practically, right? I'll be showing all these cases. Okay. Just I'll take 10 more minutes, right? Just I'll show you these things practically. So go to this start programs. Check where your Python is available, right? Python 3.10, right? File, new file. Okay, file, new file. Case 1. So this is comment in Python, starts with has symbol. Case 1, defining a variable. Defining a variable, right? X equal to 10. The three things what you need to observe: print X, type of X, print X, type of X, ID of X. Print X, type of X, ID of X, right? Print X, type of X, and ID of X. Print X means it prints 10. Type of X means integer type. Address of X means where exactly it is stored, right? That address will be printed. So within the C drive, just I created a folder, right? Python 7am. And run module, right? X has 10, prints the type, integer type, and prints this address, right? X has 10, type is integer type, and its address, right? Yes. Okay. File, new file, right? Case 2. Defining two different variables, right? Two different variables with two different values, right? Two different variables with two different values. Two different variables with two different values, then two different objects gets created with two different addresses. Okay. Okay. Okay, just I'll copy this right from the previous one. X has 10, print X, type of X, ID of X. So just paste here. And y equal to 20. X is 10 and y is 20, right? Y equal to 20. Print X, type of X, ID of X. And print Y, type of Y and ID of Y, right? Yes. Print Y, type of Y, ID of Y. Let's save it. Now, can you please answer the address of X and address of Y? Is it going to be the same or different? X address and Y address, is it going to be the same or different?
Different.
Different.
Different, right? Because their values are different. Two different objects, two different addresses, right? Yes. Now observe this case 3, right? File, new file, right? Case 3. Defining two different variables with same values, two different variables with same values, two different variables with same values, then only one object gets created. Only one object gets created. Defining two different variables with same values, then only one object gets created and its address is returned to both the variables. Two different variables with same values, only one object. X is 10 and Y is 10. Print X, type of X, ID of X. Print Y, type of Y, ID of Y. Okay. Now, can you please answer when X is 10, Y is 10, the address of X and address of Y, is it going to be the same or different?
Same.
Same, right? So that print X, type of X, ID of X. So that all the content will be same, type will be same, address will be same, right? For all these three. So just save it into 3.py, right? A run module. So that type, the address and this content. Content, type and address, content, type and address, all are same, right? All the three. Now observe this case 4, right? Observe this case 4 once. Okay. Fine. Defining, okay, just observe here, right? Defining two variables with same names, x and x, right? With same names and with different values and with different values. Two variables with same names and with different values. Defining two variables with same names but with different values. Okay. Two different objects gets created. Two different objects gets created, right? Yes. And the previous object gets removed. And the previous object gets removed. Okay, yes. Values will be different, ID also will be different, right? In this case. So x is 10, x is 10 and x is 20. There is no concept. This x is removed. The address is removed, the object is removed, everything is gone. Only x equal 20 can be accessed. Print x means 20. Type of x means this type integer. Address of x means this 20 address. The 10 will be removed totally, right? Yes. Always the latest value will be taken. X and x. Understood all these four cases, everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
Any queries in this? Any queries in these four cases? What happens internally, right? Whenever you define variables, values, right? Yes. So here, if we observe, I got some query in case 3. If you go to case 3, x is 10, y is 10. The addresses are same or different? ID of x and ID of x and ID of y.
Same, sir.
Same addresses, right? Yes.
Yes.
If I say 10.0 now, 10.0, x is 10, y is 10.0. Addresses are same or different?
Different.
So before you answer, right, say me the type of y.
Float value.
It is float.
Float object
Float.
created, right? Here type of x means integer object created, right? Two different objects, right? So the addresses are same or different?
Different.
Different, right? Different. Run model. See, the addresses will be different. Yes, understood. Addresses will be different. Okay. Understood, right? Yes. All these four cases, right? Yes. Next is data types in Python, fundamental and collection types. We will be discussing fundamental data types in brief, in depth, right? Okay. So we'll discuss in the next session, right? We'll discuss in the next session. So actually Saturdays and Sundays you won't be have classes, right? Monday to Friday only. Is it fine if I take class tomorrow for everyone?
Yes.
So please
Yes.
please type in the chat panel, everyone, saying yes or no, so that I'll confirm whether to take or will continue on. Everyone, please type in the chat panel, please, saying yes or no. Yes, everyone, please type in the chart panel, right? Okay, so tomorrow we'll have the session, same timing, right? 7 o'clock. You can use the same link, right, to see more discussion on this. Any queries as part of today's session, anyone? So I want the sessions to be interactive, right? Everyone need to keep responding. So we'll be entering into the programming part, right? Technical part. So, okay, fine. Tomorrow, same time, same link, right? So meet you tomorrow. Fine. Thank you all for your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.